There is no doubt about it that when we examine Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, there's a large chunk of fans that either love the movie or completely despise the movie, where as opposed to The Last Jedi, most of the fans actually had an issue with that particular movie by writer and director Rian Johnson. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they're now in a position of damage control and desperation in order to really kind of pull the fans back into looking forward to Disney Plus when it comes to their TV shows and, of course, the theatrical releases like the new Star Wars trilogy and beyond. And I think the fact that we have Bob Chapek on board and Dave Filoni, George Lucas, Jon Favreau, those four individuals really do spell a better future for Star Wars. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that pretty much is a given. Given that now Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over any of the existing Star Wars projects, that's also a great thing. But one thing that nobody can really deny here is that The Rise of Skywalker's production was a very serious and unstable production, not just for, of course, J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio as the writers of the film, but also the crew and, of course, the cast that were a part of this major movie because of the reshoots and the rewrites that took place in 2018 and, of course, 2019 as well, where essentially hours worth of footage was deleted from the movie and inserted with new footage by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, with that being said, on top of all of this, what's really intriguing, of course, is that since the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, took Kathleen Kennedy's creative power away, since then, fans have been looking forward to the future of the franchise more so now that Dave Filoni, George Lucas, and Jon Favreau are all working together in order to create authentic Star Wars stories for Disney Plus and for theaters in the coming years. However, it's described that The Rise of Skywalker was by far the most difficult production process for Disney, given that Kathleen Kennedy initiated so many reshoots and rewrites in 2018 and 19 before the film even released. Now, it's explained that behind the scenes, Daisy Ridley was very angry and frustrated with the director of the film, J.J. Abrams, for agreeing with Kathleen Kennedy to cut a majority of her scenes from the film that involved a week's worth of training. Daisy Ridley had many scenes as Dark Rey originally and even had a full-on lightsaber duel with Emperor Palpatine and even the Force ghosts of Anakin, Luke, Yoda, Kenobi, and more in the second act of the actual movie, where it was all cut by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. And once again, this is a prime example that Kathleen Kennedy's leadership is very poor, she's very incompetent as a leader, and she really does not really care about Star Wars fans. But the thing that really bothered Daisy Ridley was the fact that J.J. Abrams went through all of this pretty much effortlessly, just decided to do it without any kind of defense. Daisy Ridley is actually said to have a big problem with Lucasfilm's decision to cut so many of her scenes from the movie that were described as the best acting that she had done in all of the Star Wars films that she was involved in. Now, it's said that Daisy had an issue with J.J. Abrams since they had a great partnership during the production of the film, and that J.J. Abrams didn't even try to defend the scenes to stay in the movie from Kathleen Kennedy erasing them from the final cut. So once again, J.J. Abrams just seems like he goes with the flow. Whatever Kathleen Kennedy tells him to do, he does as follows, and that's exactly what happened here, and that's exactly what Daisy Ridley had an issue with. Now, Daisy put in months' worth of work between training and rehearsals for the scene, and actually saw it as a complete waste of time for what she actually invested in with her role as Rey in the movie, and that J.J. Abrams did not even come off as apologetic toward the decision by Kathleen Kennedy. So, once again, guys, say what you will about J.J. Abrams, but I really do think that The Force Awakens, was at least a somewhat entertaining movie, because they had to play it safe. It really opened up the doors, essentially, as to what the rest of the sequel trilogy could very well look like. The Rise of Skywalker, for me, honestly, it was an emotional roller coaster. There was a lot of scenes embedded in there that I had a lot of issues with, and that I really did, in fact, despise. But there were also other scenes that I thought were really well put together and well acted. So Daisy Ridley has every right to have this form of frustration against J.J. Abrams for just going through with it all, to not even defend the scenes that Daisy Ridley actually was involved in, and he just went along with it, no questions asked. At the very minimum, I think that J.J. Abrams could have absolutely, stood up or defended his decision to film those scenes, and to actually keep them in the final cut of the movie, and could have at least tried very hard to convince Kathleen Kennedy to not go through with the reshoots, at least for Daisy Ridley scenes. That's what I think, JJ should have done, and it would have made him seem, I guess you could say, more so respectful to the cast and the crew, instead of just, throwing everything right in the garbage just because Kathleen Kennedy wants it to go in the garbage. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.